Hello and a very warm welcome to all the viewers. My name is Malik Ahmed Hassan. I'm going to be your RJ for another cricketing related episode. Dear viewers, I am extremely grateful and honored that the person that I'm going to be interviewing today is a very special one and also a very knowledgeable one. He is the Dean of the School of Humanities and Social Sciences at LUMS. He's also someone who has written multiple books on cricket, and the most famous one being the one that related Pakistan and cricket, titled Cricket in Pakistan, Nation, Identity and Politics. But keeping all of these things aside, at the heart of all of this is that he's just a cricket fan, an extremely, a passionate cricket fan, just like you and me. Please welcome Dr. Ali Khan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for, taking out the time to be with us. So I will start with the performance of Pakistan in the World Cup that we are having. It's still continuing. So how would you rate the Pakistani batsmen and the bowlers and the intent that we saw on the field for Pakistan? So when we see the talent that the team possessed and the strength that appeared on the paper, do you think that they justified it on the ground as well? And also, what would be the key takeaways for Pakistan in the coming future World Cups and other events? How would you assess the performance?
Uneven. I think if you were to take one word, I'd say it's uneven. I think we need to keep in mind a couple of things. I think there were mistakes leading up to the World Cup. And I think one mistake was that we decided that we want to win matches leading up to the World Cup rather than prepare the team for the World Cup. I think India did the opposite. They lost a number of matches leading up to the World Cup, but it allowed them to find the right combination and the right team once the World Cup started. And I think they had the confidence, okay, it doesn't matter if we lose a few games, we're going to get the right team. And I think they tried a number of people in their middle order and the rest of the positions. I don't think Pakistan did that. And that meant that we had exhausted our fast bowlers. Shaheen was injured, Naseem was injured, others had bowled quite a lot. So I think there was a mistake in that strategy. I think also, let's face it, every team has some experience of playing in India except Pakistan. And that does have an impact. And one of the things that has become very clear is that our spin bowling resources are very, very bare at the moment. And going with spinners who may work well in a T20 environment may not be the best for ODIs, as we've seen. Right? It's been a problem. You're not getting wickets through your spinners at all.
Especially in the middle overs, that is something
Especially in the middle
missing.
overs. So, you don't have wicket takers. And Pakistan has always, in the past, depended on wicket takers. And that was the big issue. Third point is, I think we may have overestimated ourselves as well, a little bit. I think Pakistan, हम कहते तो बहुत हैं कि जी talent बहुत है. But let's face it, talent by itself is not enough. People forget, they say that Virat Kohli is a very talented player, Sachin Tendulkar is a very talented player. But let me tell you, look at their training regime and then see that talent to hai, but no one trains harder than Virat Kohli and no one trained harder than Sachin Tendulkar. And I will tell you one more thing. No one trained harder than Imran Khan. Right? So he was always the first one in the gym or running around laps, etc. So, players like that don't take things for granted. And I think, therefore, we overestimated ourselves a little bit. And I think that's where the unevenness is.
So I would just, take one point from your thought. That would be कि fitness level के ऊपर मैं बात करना चाहूँगा कि the standards have actually gone a lot down because of a lot of changes भी हमें करने पड़े टीम के अंदर, कुछ unforced changes थे. But in the terms of the command, the administration, उनकी तरफ से शायद direction भी उस तरीके से वो strict नहीं रही जिस तरीके से शायद हम पहले देखते थे. For example, we talk about the tenure of Misbah. He was actually very strict on their fitness और diet का थोड़ा सारा था standards जो maintain किए हुए थे. But what is very apparent from the physiques of the player is that they are not as fit as an international player should be performing at the highest level. So that is also a factor that could possibly contribute to the injuries that could lead up to some injuries.
No, I agree with you. I think that fitness levels have gone down, which is very unfortunate. I think I recently read a tweet from Yuvraj Singh saying that the fittest Pakistan team that he has seen was Champions Trophy.
Right.
in 2017. And there were other occasions where the team looked to be much fitter than it is now. And I think Mickey Arthur ke daur mein, they had sort of put in place this thing of, having regular tests and actually releasing that to the press. That yo-yo test or jo bhi hai, they used to have something that would push them. I think there was some pushback from some players, this is doing too much and, we're tired by the time we go into the match, etc. But, the scrapping of anything like that seems to have meant that we've gone backwards. You can see in the field we are slow. We're slow to the ball. We gave away 20 runs. We're also slow between the wickets. And again, fine margins, you lose 20, 30 runs here and there. And I think what is disappointing is that, you're professionals. You should be fit. This is something you can improve immediately.
Sure.
Right? I mean, skill and talent. Sometimes you're born with certain skills and talents. You can do that. But if you work really hard, your fitness levels will improve very, very quickly. So I do find that is disappointing. And it is a problem from on top that they should ensure that people
we're playing
are
at
fit,
the highest
that you're
level. Yes.
playing at the highest level. You are representing your country.
Country.
You should be at the peak level of fitness, really.
Right. So, sir, I think this also goes back to the question that Pakistan takes a lot of pride in being the unpredictables, the underdogs, the team that can actually turn any team, they can defeat any team on their day. But at the same time, that actually adds to a lot of unpredictability to the whole team, because on a day we have seen Pakistan losing to teams that are not even considered as a threat to Pakistan. So we saw that happening in this World Cup with Afghanistan. They defeated us by 6 or 7 wickets, quite comprehensively they defeated us. So would you agree that this unpredictably, about being unpredictable, being raw and being very passionate, just being passionate is not enough, and now it's time that we actually come up with predictable team that can actually deliver on a very regular and constant basis, rather than being one day up and the other day being completely to the ground?
Yeah, I think we need to address that, and I'll tell you when we did address it. I think there have been several periods in our history when the label unpredictable was not correct. Actually, we were not unpredictable in the late 80s. We were predictably good. We were amongst the best team along with West Indies. These two teams were very, very strong. And we were consistently strong. I think we were consistently good under Misbah.
Right, sir.
And there you begin to see what is happening here. Wherever you've had a certain level of stability, you've been good. Even under Inzamam in 2004 and onwards, there was stability and you were predictably good. Pakistan was not up and down so much.
Sure.
We were good. We had the label of being unpredictable, but generally Pakistan was stable and was good. So wherever you have stability, you begin to show much more progress in this. Now, the predictability comes from, you will always in Pakistan throw up hyper-talented players. And hyper-talented players can change the course of a game.
Right, sir.
Individually. Afridi had done it, others have done it. But you need certain consistency to come with that. So the whole challenge, I remember talking to Bob Woolmer about this many years ago. And what Bob Woolmer tried to do is, let Pakistan be the talented people that they are, let them play that they want to play, but try and bring some consistency alongside that. And that consistency might come from better fitness, better, net sessions.
Sure.
You have to work on those a little bit. Otherwise, it's just a matter of, aaj wo chal gaya,
Sure.
so we'll win.
Otherwise,
kal nahi chalega, so we lose.
Also, sir, it is also about providing some sort of safety to the players, because they should be certain, उनको पता ना चाहिए कि हम शायद अगर एक मैच में परफॉर्मेंस नहीं कर रहे तो हमें अगले मैच में ड्रॉप नहीं कर दिया जाएगा, because this is something that we can also pick up from the Australian team. For example, Cameron Green is someone who they have been carrying on. किसी का प्लेयर को उठा लें, they give them proper chances before actually dropping them. But in Pakistan, it's a very reactive कि एक मैच में अगर कोई बड़े मैच में परफॉर्म नहीं किया. For example, we can talk about Mohammad Nawaz also. He delivered a very bad delivery. It was not, a गुड डिलीवरी, उस प्रेशर के मोमेंट में आपने लेग साइड पे बॉल कर दिया, मैच खत्म हो गया. बट what I see of it, happening is that he would probably get also dropped from the team because of bowling one bad delivery, but not ऐसे उसका पूरा करियर देखने के बजाय, उसकी परफॉर्मेंसेस को पूरा assess करने के बजाय, we will probably focus on that one bad delivery and then probably drop him or someone else out of the team. So and also sir, considering कि जैसा आपने कहा कि raw talent को हम लाना पसंद करते हैं, I would like to add कि हारिस रऊफ के बारे में ये बात बड़ी, that was a point that was raised, he had no experience of the 50 over cricket, and he was brought from the T20 into the World Cup with no prior experience of a lot of ODI matches. तो इसके अंदर अगर हम किसी जो पाकिस्तान के सर्किट में खेलते रहे उनको प्रेफर करते, शायद that would have been much better than going with someone who was just raw pace and playing with the big heart. तो वो probably वो बिल्कुल बात है.
I think in the case of someone like Haris Rauf, what is happening is that T20 से लोग आ रहे हैं.
Sure.
And T20, you can make an impact over 3 overs, 4 overs, or play a fantastic innings. And people say that also about Mohammad Haris, कि जी उसने PSL में run बना के he's been brought into an ODI team. And I think it's a fair criticism that you need to prove yourself in the longer format. Now, some people will say, why is Haris Rauf not playing test cricket, or Shadab test cricket kyun nahi khelta? It's a different ball game altogether. They're almost different formats. So you have to prove yourself in a longer format. And sometimes it's just a fitness issue. Bowling 10 overs is not the same as bowling 4 overs. And so there, I think there's a problem in how we are selecting as well. And I think that needs to be addressed. The thing about, dropping people and the consistency and inconsistency, I think it has an enormous impact on players. And I'll give you an example. Ben Stokes. Right? Ben Stokes was hit for four sixes in that T20.
In that World Cup, yes.
Now, had it been a Pakistani, he would never have played again.
We never had seen his face.
Right. So Ben Stokes is an outstanding, is a generational player, and he's, England have said, we want this man, we want to keep him, we think he's good enough. Australia भी यही करते थे कि once you identify a player, you invest in that player. Ricky Ponting के साथ यही किया था. Ricky Ponting had other issues. He was known to be a gambler, not on cricket, but otherwise he had these issues. They told him, you get your act in order because you're supposed to be the next captain. And he did that. So you invest in a player and you say, okay, look, we're going to see you through this. We think you're good enough. But does anyone in the Pakistan setup sit down and talk to Mohammad Nawaz and say, Nawaz, ye hota hai. You're a good player. You can do this. You're good enough to be here. This is what a selector does, what a manager does, what a captain does. You invest in players and you take them forward. You give them confidence.
Right, sir.
Without that confidence, if every time you think, ki ji, ab main ja raha hu, I remember a player in the past, I think he'd played 4 test matches in total. He'd been dropped like 7 times in between. How do you do that, right? You play one match, you're dropped. You play another match, you're dropped. Whatever, it's so. This instability is a disaster for Pakistani cricket.
So also this instability is not just in the team. We are also seeing that happening in the cricket board itself. I remember Harsha Bhogle recently, talked about it. We see Najam Sethi taking over for 3 days, and then we see Zaka Ashraf coming for the next 3 or 4. We also saw that happening before that. We saw Ramiz Raja, replaced by Najam Sethi just because of the governments that were, toppled over. So would you agree that this is also having a very negative impact on the players, because once you start bringing uncertainty into the board, that also impacts the players. And also the coaches, for example, if Mickey Arthur is coaching, he is actually very unsure whether he's going to be continuing other than if for example Zaka Ashraf ko replace kar dete hain, so would he be continuing under that PCB chairman also, या उनको भी remove कर दिया जाएगा?
You've summed it up. It's an enormous problem, right? How do you plan long term when you have so many changes? At the board level, at the cricketing level. In the past, I remember doing research on this. I think over a 10-15 year period, the number of captains for Pakistan had changed 16 times. The equivalent for India or for Australia was 5 or 6.
That's interesting.
Right?
That's
So
a huge difference.
we were changing 16 captains in between.
Right.
And even included in those 16 are a year, 5-year stretch for Misbah and a 5-year stretch for Inzamam. So in between, everyone has been captain almost.
Right.
So, what is the ethos of the team then? Who's leading the team? Who's saying that this is what our vision is? This is what we want to be. So at the level of the team, this is an enormous problem. There's no continuity. It comes from the board. Right? You rightly said, a government changes, the PCB chairman changes. Now, if the chairman is changing, then he's bringing in, from what I've heard, 70 new people have been inducted into the board.
Right.
The next chairman will come, another 50 people will be inducted. Then we say, कि जी Mickey Arthur को निकाल दें, इसको ले आएं, Inzamam को निकाल दो, इसको ले आओ. Now, so where is the long-term planning in this, right? There's no long-term planning. There's no, this is what we're going to work on fitness. We're going to work on fielding. We're going to work on batting like this. We're going to work on this bowling. Does the coach know how much time he has? Does the player know कि जी coach ने मुझे ये बताया है, मैं ये follow करूं, या मैं इंतजार करूं कि नया coach आएगा फिर वो कुछ और बताएगा मुझे? Right? So where is that continuity? Look what the boards in other countries do. Look at what India has done. Rahul Dravid, has been with the under-19s for many, many years. He comes into, before that Ravi Shastri was in place. Rahul Dravid comes in place. They have a plan. They have, they sit with the players. They have set number of coaches. All of this brings stability. It brings confidence.
Confidence to the players.
So if you don't have confidence, you can't play a sport. Right? You just can't. Anyone who's played a sport, if they feel that they're going into the field without a clear mind, without the confidence that we're going to do this, we're going to be backed even if we, it's just not going to work. How did England go about baseball? How did England change between 2015 and 2019? The way that they play cricket. The only way that they could have done that, if the management told them, you go out and play the game you want to play, we will back you. Aap zero ke liye bhi out ho jaye, we will back you. Right? That's how they've done it. So many changes, so much instability means that there is, like for the rest of Pakistan, there is no planning in place. Everyone is going to be worried about keeping their own position. The captain will keep his own position. The coach will want to try and keep their own position. And no one is going to think about कि जी पाकिस्तान क्रिकेट के लिए हम क्या करें.
Sir, इसके साथ ही सर जो सवाल करूँगा, that would be about the leadership in the team. So we are seeing that Babar Azam is right now the captain of the Pakistan team. So would you agree कि पहले जब हम कैप्टन बनाते हैं, we are only considering their individual performances and how they performed on an individual level, and not consider other factors like the leadership and how they communicate stuff to the players, how they are in terms of backing the other players, उनका क्या होता है, impact कितना वो लेकर आ सकते हैं through their own body language and their own impact. So would you agree कि sir probably we should be focusing on first कि हम एक captain को select करें, should be given a longer stint, but when we are selecting a captain, there should be criteria, some factors other than his individual performances, because this is the criticism that Babar Azam has been facing for quite some time now, that he's not able to lead the team as a leader should be. For example, they quote Mohammad Rizwan should be the captain, probably Shaheen Shah, he's a person who takes charge. बाबर आजम के अंदर शायद वो चीज़ नज़र नहीं आती कुछ लोगों को, तो वो इस पर भी क्रिटिसाइज करते हैं कि प्रॉब्ली सिलेक्शन कैप्टन की हमें इन चीज़ों को भी देख के करनी चाहिए. सो वुड यू एग्री ऑन दैट?
So in cricket, I think more than any other sport, leadership is very, very important. It really is. It's transformational, and you can see that with Imran Khan's impact, but you can also see it with the impact of someone like Owen Morgan, who had an enormous impact on England and was a very well respected leader. And if you take it back further, people like Clive Lloyd for West Indies was a transformational leader who changed the fortunes of what were again a group of very talented West Indian cricketers, but who never were able to bring consistency. So Lloyd was able to do that. So leadership is very,
Very
very
important.
important. I think there's no doubt about that. And I think that what the board needs to do is to identify people who have that potential. It's not an easy thing to do.
Right.
Lekin you
that's very
need to see
difficult.
who has got that potential. Some people won't have it. I think that Misbah was a good leader. I think he was the leader we needed when he became captain. He brought a dignity back to Pakistani cricket, which we didn't have. So
Right.
we owe a lot to Misbah ul Haq. I think Sarfraz was a very good leader. And I saw Sarfraz winning under 19 the World Cup. And I think that he developed a culture within the team that was supportive of one another. Isse pehle, one of the disadvantages that Pakistan cricket always faced is that people would undercut one another.
So grouping
Groupings hote the. Even great players would undercut and they would not work together.
Sure.
सरफराज के दौर में I think that lessened, and I have to give it to बाबर आजम कि बाबर आजम के दौर में ये कम हुआ है. At least until recently when we are hearing a little bit
Asia
about
Cup.
groupings. लेकिन उससे पहले बाबर आजम had the respect of the players.
Because he was
They
performing
supported him.
himself.
They were performing. It's easier when you're performing,
Sure.
but they respected him. They all stood by him. They all supported him, from Shaheen to Haris to Rizwan. I know that this was very much, and I think a lot of it was because Babar was such an outstanding cricketer.
That is
He
true.
was able to draw people towards him.
Sure.
Now, you also have to evolve with the team. So it may be that Babar has not evolved, and when you come under pressure and stress, it's possible that he may be found wanting. I'm not ready to make that call. I think that people are very quick to criticize
Right.
and say कि जी शाहीन को बना लें या रिजवान को बना लें, but the same people would then criticize them within.
So ये वही philosophy इसके वजह से हमने 16 कैप्टन चेंज किया.
हाँ,
और उन्होंने
exactly, right. But I think you do need to look and see who has that potential. South Africa did it very well. They gave a 21-year-old Graham Smith captaincy.
Right.
And Graham Smith had something about him that meant that he became their most
best captain.
celebrated captain. Now, Babar ke saath, people complain a lot. They were complaining even in the last match ke dekhen, he should have batted first. At the end of the day, if he had batted first, we may have lost
We would
because
have
the
lost.
rain came later and we were ahead. So
Right.
give him some credit in that he was maybe right in that case. So I think, jab mushkil time aata hai, these cracks appear. My thing with Babar is that I would like him to be the best batsman he can be. I think that's the best thing for Pakistan. Whether that means he doesn't want to concentrate on captaincy, that's up to him. But I think sometimes people are a little unfair on Babar Azam.
Right. So with that, I think we'd like to conclude this episode. I think so. Thank you so much for giving us your time. It was a pleasure talking to you and an honor for me to actually host you for this episode. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching this. Please like, comment, and share. And lastly, take care. Allah Hafiz.